Welcome, folks. Thanks for joining us. This is Black, Bold, and Brilliant. We are so excited to have you all here and joining us. We got a great conversation planned for you all. We want to open up with a blurred question. We want to hear from you all in the chat. Our event today is Black, Bold, and Brilliant Blerd Edition, so we're going right in. In the chat, share your name and what brings out your blerd. Are you a sci-fi? Are you a comic book? Are you a fantasy? What's your type of blerd? Go ahead and put it in the chat. And again, we're just excited to be here with you all. My name is Frankie Baines. I'll be your MC for tonight's event, along with my co-MC.
Hello, this is Billy Palmer, and I'm just stoked to be here, uh, getting ready to blurt out.
Oh, yeah. So, Billy, what is Black, Bold, and Brilliant? What are we doing? What is this?
So, yeah, for folks who don't know what Black, Bold, and Brilliant is, this is a celebration of so many of our nuances as Black folk. And so, as we understand that Black is not a monolith, and as we begin to see more and more people showing up in the United States and moving around in our country who are Afro Cubana and from all these many countries in Africa and all of the folks through the South, through the North and East and West, we realize that Black is such a vast and beautiful, diverse word. And it's something that we all get to sort of define for ourselves individually. And the more we get to show up authentically, the more we get to live the wonderful lives that we choose. And so this is a celebration of Black folk. This is a celebration of a culture that is vast. So here's how Black, Bold, and Brilliant works. We play clips from movies, films, and we just play a little of this and a little of that to uh, spark conversation. And that conversation helps to bring out the authenticity of our listeners, our moderators, and those involved. So enjoy it. This is our third one. If you've been to a Black, Bold, and Brilliant, you know what you're about to see. But if you haven't, you're in for a treat. This is a lot of fun, and this is not like a moderated conversation you may have ever seen before. So we hope that you enjoy it. And if you do, keep coming back because we have three more of these types of formatted shows for you for the rest of the year. And we have some movie nights for you to join as well. Break it
Yeah.
bang.
Oh, yeah. We're just so excited for the lineup that we have this year. And we're excited to bring this special content where we get to celebrate our Blackness and have these awesome conversations with community members and just have fun with film. So, we also have a feature where you're able to engage with us in the chat. We have a moderator that's just kind of keeping you all engaged. So, we ask you to follow the lead of the moderator. We invite you to utilize the Q&A option to share what's on your mind. We'll have a Q&A at the end. We invite you to be in the moment and enjoy this. We want this to be fun. We ask you to be curious and connect and be kind as you engage in the chat. Awesome. So we're ready to roll. We'll have Billy introduce our moderators.
I thought you would say that, and guess what? I'm not prepared. um, I just disappeared on my screen, and I thought, oh, I better go find that. All right, here we go. So our moderators are we're happy to bring these moderators to you. They're part of the Changing the Narrative team here at KRCL on Radioactive. And just so you know, the partners here are Utah Film Center and Utah Convos, as well as KRCL and Radioactive, a show we have weeknights at 6 right here on at KRCL. So our first moderator is Malijah Garfield. He goes with he and him is his gender. Is He is the inaugural director of the Black Cultural Center, or BBC, at the University of Utah, a center that works holistically to holistically enrich educate and advocate for students, faculty, staff, and the broader community through Black-centered programming, culturally affirming educational initiatives, and retention strategies. Hailing from Rochester, New York, Garfield told a BA in government with a minor in colonial Latin from American history and African studies, and as a master of public administration from the New Mexico State University, where he was previously the program's coordinator for the Black Programs Department. He has implemented outreach and retention services, served as coordinator and advisor in Black programs, and managed numerous departmental programming and events while at NMSU, many of which he hopes to start at the U. He is also a proud member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and I understand he's under contract that he has to say that every time. Asia Washington is a Black feminist social worker, activist who grew up in Southern California. She is a community co-host on KRCL's Thursday night show, Changing the Narrative, and is a founding member of Black Lives Matter Salt Lake City and works on various activism projects in Salt Lake City. That is our moderators. Thanks for coming and doing this. This is going to be so blerdy and wonderful.
Awesome. So enjoy. We'll see you all at the end.
Thank you, Billy and Frankie.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Here. Elijah, we made it. It's been a long road and we are here. We're so excited just to be with you all tonight. We worked really hard on this program, so I hope you really enjoy it. And so I just want to talk to you again about what a Blerd is. Blerd is a combination of two words, Black and nerd. You may not think that you're a Blerd, but I bet after you get through this program, you'll probably figure out that you are, like I did. I didn't think I was too, but then I kind of thought back to my past and some of the things I like to watch and, found out that I am a Blerd. What about you, Elijah?
Yes, I found out that I was a Blerd, I would say, when I was a child. My father used to read Marvel comic books with me. And then we used to watch the old X-Men cartoons on Saturday mornings. So yeah, I loved it.
That X-Men intro was like life to me.
Yes, and just to kind of let you all know, because oftentimes when we're talking about Blerds, people don't really know who are Blerds in our media today. And we have a couple, rather it be Donald Glover, which is Childish Gambino as a Blerd. We have Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, LeVar Burton, Jaleel White, Issa Rae, yes. Blerd. We also have Aisha Tyler. And then on YouTube, we have a couple such as Marquez Brownlee, does tech reviews. And then we have Black Nerd Comedy that has their own YouTube channel as well. So definitely a plethora of different Blerds, as we say, throughout the spheres of influence.
And so before Elijah starts introducing the panel, we just want to let you know, stick around to the end. We will have a beautiful tribute to Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, Black Panther. And so we really hope you enjoy the program and stick around to the end. So let's get into our panelists. Who's here with us tonight?
Yes, so first we have the awesome and amazing Keith McDonald, who was born in a small suburb in South Chicago, Illinois, called Blue Island. He arrived in Utah after being stationed at Hill Air Force Base. Although he enjoyed his time in the military, it did not suit his peaceful sensibilities or inclination towards helping others. Keith enjoys working with kids, rather it be mentoring, coaching, or teaching. It's all Keith's passion. His dream is to enact change in the urban areas of America by developing social and athletic programs, by promoting education and creating community solidarity activities to counteract the influence of gangs, drugs, and sedentary lifestyles. Keith has a BA in journalism/ethnic studies, all right, and is a host of the Friday Night Fallout Show on KRCL, organizes park jams, and works at the Slick English department. Keith is also a comic book nerd. Respect. Who do we have next?
All right. Well, you know that we couldn't just leave it to you men. I had to bring a sister on the panel tonight. So we have Imani Powell with us. Imani is the proud owner of Essence of Ebony, a company created to show love to the natural brothers and sisters. Her current role in her business is a natural hair coach and stylist. Imani was born and raised in New Jersey. She graduated from Virginia Commonwealth University with a bachelor's in forensic science or biology and a minor in chemistry. And she currently resides in Salt Lake City. Imani spent most of her youth in a natural hair salon and has carried over her skills and teachings as a natural hairstylist today. She is an artist, a creative, a scientist, and an advocate for the natural essence of the Black experience. Welcome, Imani. She's a real Black nerd. She's a Blerd in real life. And so I'm so excited to have this convo with you.
Yes.
Who do we have next?
And we have, last but not least, Dirk Thomas, which they were born in the Naval Medical Center in Roosevelt Roads, Puerto Rico, and was later adopted by activists. They took the fantasy, sci-fi, and superheroes like a security blanket because they were like other forms of media where they got to see women and people of color not portrayed as stereotypes, damsel in distress. Since Dirk's the child of activists, they also been really involved in local grassroots community activism, starting out as the founder and president of their school's environmental club in middle school to creating underground newspapers denouncing white supremacy in high school. At Weber State University, Dirk also denounced the signposts for advertising gay conversion therapy. Now at 34, they are one of the co-chairs for the LGBTQIA Committee for Black Lives Matter Utah. Thank you.
Welcome to our panel. Everyone can get on the screen and we can jump into this conversation. So tonight, we're gonna start off with some favorite Blerd moments from our panelists. We asked each of the panelists tonight to pick out a clip that was meaningful to them and their journey to, dare I say, Blerdom. And so tonight we're gonna start off with a clip from Dirk. So let's get that going.
Cool.
You're in the way.
I'm sorry.
This contest should only be for the real fans.
Hey, what makes you think I'm not a real fan? I deserve to be here too.
You really think that the Avengers read your little story? Get out of here.
And the mob, and the press, and the whole world tell you to move. You plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth, and you say no. You move.
What?
Who said that? A real fan would.
Yeah, whatever. Let's get out of here.
Great. And they're out of comics.
You know, for what it's worth, I thought that was pretty brave.
Thanks.
I'm guessing you're a Captain Marvel fan. She's off planet, but she would have liked to meet you.
Sorry, you're Captain America. I'm Kamala. Kamala Khan.
Khan. Your story had the evil sewer...
The sewer lizards, yeah.
Yeah. Thor really got a kick out of that one. Said they actually had a sewer lizard problem on Asgard once.
You read my story.
Everyone submitted.
That is so cool.
All right.
Ooh, you know, that game doesn't get much justice. The Avengers game, even though it was terrible with microtransactions, but the game doesn't get enough justice. Great clip, Dirk. Why did you choose this clip?
Well, for those who don't know, that clip was, or that quote was originally said by Captain America in the Civil War comics. And while it was powerful then when I was reading it, it felt even more, I felt even more validated hearing Kamala say it. Because like, as a lot of Blerds know, there's gatekeepers in the geek community that like try to, okay, pop quiz, hot shot, like whatever. And she just schools them. And like I've done that so many times in life, like even like 3 weeks ago at the end zone or whatever. And just like seeing Kamala do that actually made me buy that game. So like we won't talk about like, because the game feels like Destiny 1 where it wasn't finished yet when it started, but like the story was pretty legit. And then like seeing Kamala do that was just like, whoa, man. Like
See, and you probably didn't even think Kamala was a nerd either. And here she
right?
comes quoting a
This bodies people.
So thank you so much for choosing that clip and you know, bringing that to the show tonight. And we'll discuss some more about, you know, us belonging in this space of nerdom. So Malijah, do you want to?
Yes.
Yes.
As far as in the next clip, you're saying? Or
Yeah.
yes. All right. Imani, you had the next clip. Do you mind? We're gonna play the next clip, right?
Where the hell have you been? Everywhere I look, you're not where I need you to be. It's not my imagination. Now, where the hell do you go every day?
To the bathroom, sir.
To the bathroom. To the damn bathroom. For 40 minutes a day? What are you doing there? We're T-minus 0 here. I put a lot of faith in you.
There's no bathroom for me here.
What do you mean there's no bathroom for you here?
There is no bathroom. There are no colored bathrooms in this building or any building outside the West Campus, which is half a mile away. Did you know that? I have to walk to Timbuktu just to relieve myself. And I can't use one of the handy bikes. Picture that, Mr. Harrison. My uniform, skirt below my knees, my heels, and a simple string of pearls. Well, I don't own pearls. Lord knows you don't pay colors enough to afford pearls. And I work like a dog, day and night, living off of coffee from a pot none of you want to touch. Excuse me if I have to go to the restroom a few times a day.
One.
Okay, so I have to say, when I saw Hidden Figures, that's where this clip is from, I had to rewind it because it just was like so powerful and emotional to me. And Taraji just acted her butt off in that scene. And so I love it so much. So Imani, tell me why you chose this clip.
Well, it was like triggering to like rewatch. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, I'm getting mad all over again. I'm ready to fight. I think it just shows like the simplicity of like basic things that Black women go through, even in places like STEM. So like me being, like they said, I'm a forensic scientist by degree. And so it's like the things I want to walk up in the lab and do what I have to do, there shouldn't be any problems. And I feel like even though that was dated, you know, a while back, it's like I'm still asking for basic things. And the passion that she has, as many people may know, I too share that passion and express it in a way that, you know, I feel like you really got to get your point across. And I feel like, you know, this scene specifically was really good because it wasn't just like her swallowing like what happened and like dialing back how she felt. Like she really told it like it was. And I feel like that's what is necessary for a shift and for change. And it's just like, and she's just a genius. So it's like, it just like adds on top of that. Like you have nowhere to disrespect her because she's right and she's done the work and she's gotten there and she's beautiful and she's Black and she got her hair wet. How dare you? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I was like watching it, like my heart started racing again. Like, yeah, that's why I chose that. So I feel like it's just such a powerful message, and for people that like really like to live in like something that is a white male dominated field in this country, it's like we still expect the same respect because we deserve it, one, but it's like we really have to fight 10 times harder to gain that respect just for simple things that they get on a daily. So that's why I chose it.
There's some common themes coming up from Dirk's clip to your clip about the spaces we're in and people telling us whether or not we belong. And so I'm sure that's going to come up later in our conversation. So we have one more clip from our panelists. Last but certainly not least, we have Keith's clip, and he has a clip for us from Luke Cage.
He didn't recognize you.
Loneliness never goes away, especially in places like Seagate. If you don't make attempts to befriend someone, loneliness is guaranteed to eat you alive.
I'm clear. I'm focused. I promise, baby. I'm ready.
One.
Ooh, this clip, man. Luke Cage, one of my favorite, I'd say, of the Netflix Marvel shows that were canceled. Luke Cage was amazing, and really kind of was talking about this thing of battling this bulletproof Black man in Harlem. Keith, what are your thoughts? Why did you choose this clip?
I chose Luke Cage specifically because of the convergence between hip hop, film, comic books, and Black culture. You know, they have the barbershop in there. They got Pops, you know, the kind of the wise sage of the ghetto, and it just everything kind of came together with my favorite book in this scene, The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. I think the director did a really good job of kind of visually portraying a lot of themes that were in the book. If you're a fan of the book, mirrors, light was were two of the main themes of the introductory page, and also him not being seen. So he wasn't seen by Harlem, but he was seen by this individual who came back kind of as an apparition. So there was so many things that kind of tied together in this scene and in this series that connected with my Blerdom, so I had to choose Luke Cage. Going down to the hip hop titles, you got the Gangstar and Pete Rock and CL Smooth and the music and everything. You got Jadena performing, you got Raphael Sadiq performing. It was just like everything was there. Everything was there.
I like that, Keith. As far as in that intersection between hip hop and nerdiness, oftentimes people don't understand that a lot of the major hip hop artists of the day, and even today, are major Blerds. Like they are into the various comic books, heroes, things that, particularly like Wu-Tang.
The Jizza is a legitimate scientist, so yes, we definitely don't get the credit that we deserve in the hip hop culture, especially being that we have the largest vocabulary of any musical genre by far.
Love it. All right, so we're gonna go to the next clip. Thank you again, Keith, for choosing that clip as well as the others. Each one of those clips really define different types of blerdiness, and so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're going to go into the next clip, and this is a clip by Steve Urkel when he becomes the infamous Stefan.
That will make me cool.
Oh, will you go on and drink that, and then I'll show you my toothpaste that turns me into Janet Jackson.
Mock if you must, my little minx, but I found my cool jean. True, it was a little hard to find. It was hiding behind my jeans for hammer toes and nasal drip. But still, I found it. So I took my cool jean and I doubled it. And I doubled it again and again until I had 100 trillion cool jeans.
Steve, you're scaring me.
Oh, sorry. Laura, this elixir will improve my coordination, my posture, my vocal intonation, and I might even sprout a chest hair or two.
First, you better sprout a chest. Steve, is that stuff safe?
Who knows?
Steve.
Hired a Steve Urkel, were you? Wanted someone better, did you? Someone cool. Well, through the teeth, over the gums, look out, stomach, here it comes.
Steve, stop!
Ooh, cool jeans taste like Snapple.
You okay? Steve?
Steve. Steve who?
Steve Urkel. You.
No. There is no Steve here. I'm Stefan, sweet thing. Stefan Urkel.
So, like, this clip is iconic. Like, I don't know how I forgot about Steve Urkel, but he's like the ultimate Blerd, at least for my generation growing up. He's one you could look to for that. So Malijah, you picked this clip.
Yes.
Why did you pick this clip?
I just picked this clip really because oftentimes, so today it is, it's kind of normal for people to kind of be blerds. Like we can be into comic books. We can be, Marvel is one of the biggest movie franchises ever right now. And back in the day, nerds, you get bullied, you would get beat up, you get, get beat up, bullied, everything get called out of your name all the time. And so this transformation from being a nerd to like this cool guy. And really we talk about code switching as far as in being able to code switch with blackness to white spaces. But really we don't talk about like the nerds and hiding your like blurtiness in order to fit in with just other people like you, other Black folk, other people of color, because oftentimes it was shunned upon. So yes, I wonder what are you all thoughts on that? Imani, Keith?
I remember a story Will Smith told about having to take his books home in a pizza box so that people didn't pick on him. They were like, he carried it in a pizza box because it was more socially acceptable to be having that box than to having a whole bunch of books in his hand. So he had a pizza box one time. I'm pretty sure it was Will Smith, but I think this is like a microcosm to what happened with Black nerds all of a sudden, and it's an encouragement to all of y'all young brothers out there, man, in grammar school or high school. Just stick with it, man. Stay with what you're passionate about, because being a nerd really it boils down to being passionate about something, whether it's music, whether it's literacy or literature, whether it's hip hop or movies or anime. It's just about your passion. So stick with it and stick with your passion no matter what people say about it.
Yes. What about you, Imani? What was your thoughts on this?
So don't nobody take my Black card. I'm just gonna start there. But I know.
You start with that. When you start with that phrase.
Because I got to, because I don't want the side judgment when I start talking. But yeah, so I didn't really watch a whole lot. Like I knew the transition happened at some point. Like I knew who Stefan was and I knew who Steve was. So I feel like I'm good. But just like that transition, I feel like, I don't know. I've only, like when I got older, I've only seen like, adults and like watching all the crime scene shows, because that's what I watched. I was all about the crime scene life. But when I got to college, it felt like there was this like merge between like Stefan and Steve, like all the people in STEM. And I don't know if it's just because of where I was, but everybody was fine. You know what I'm saying? Like all the men and all the women, it was just like, oh, and then, when you find out that engineers be making 6 figures after graduation, they become even more attractive all of a sudden. It's interesting. But it's just kind of like, it's just nice that over time, like the narrative has changed and shifted to what someone being a nerd looks like. Like you said, Malijah, like it's normal for us now to like be interested in these things and still, be attractive, like the socially accepted version of attractive, and just like carry on your daily life and just do you at the end of the day. So yeah.
Thank you. What about you, Dirk? What are your thoughts on this Steve Urkel clip?
Steve Urkel is my hero, first of all. I just like all of it. I had so many Steve Urkel dolls and sweaters, and I used to be him for Halloween when I was little. I always thought I was cool, and so I never really had to like switch on my blurtiness ever, because it was encouraged in my household. And then in the circles that I hung out with and whatnot, like it wasn't until I left and came to Utah that like I did not see Black nerds, because like there's a lot in California. But yeah, so it is way nicer now to see that
our cultures are being accepted, normalized. Like I can hold these magic cards up and people actually know what the heck I'm talking about and shit. Like, oh, sorry. But yeah, so things can only go up from here, and I'm here for it.
Yes, thank you. And I really like, I want to take that last part that you stated as far as like, it was growing up or coming to Utah, like you don't see as many Blerds. And I think the reason why is because we have such a small population of Black people here in the state, that their perception, Utah's perception of Blackness is usually what they see on television. And it's like a microcosm of a little bit of what Black culture is. And then we have to speak to Black is not a monolith, that the much larger picture of Blackness is across the United States, across the diaspora. And there are Black nerds, myself, Asia, others, we're all here as Black nerds, but yes.
Yeah. I love that notion. I know, Malaysia, you did a talk at the U about, Black is not a monolith. And it's very true that, you can definitely be interested in all these different things and still be Black, and your Black card shouldn't be taken from you for being interested in these things at all. And that it's just another facet of our Blackness. And so I think we need to be embracing it and not dividing ourselves and separating ourselves from each other. So
absolutely. All right, so we're making good time, but we're going to go to the next clip, which is Hippolyta in the space. Asia, did you choose this clip?
So just to preface this, these are clips that we chose, Black, Bold, and Brilliant chose to kind of start conversation. So we're looking at some pop culture examples of Blerds or things that Blerds would be interested in. And basically, it was kind of hard to find clips with Black women in sci-fi, which was really disheartening, actually. But thank goodness for Lovecraft Country, because my God, there's so many jewels in that show. If you have not seen it, it's on HBO. It's just a wonderful, wonderful show, and it has a lot of historical references, a lot of sci-fi and pop culture references, and it's just a really cool show. So we're gonna show a clip of one of the characters. Her name is Hippolyta, and she's basically in space, but kind of pay attention and see if you get some gems out of this clip. So let's go.
I'm not real, I'm just like you. You don't exist in this society. If you did, your people wouldn't be seeking equal rights. You're not real. If you were, you'd have some status among the nations of the world. So we're both myths. I do not come to you as a reality. I come to you as the myth. Because that's what Black people are. Myths.
Got curious.
Now that you've named yourself, we can fully integrate you into our society. You no longer need the devices on your wrists.
Is the change permanent?
Yes.
And if I don't change, can I go back through that portal that brought me here? Back home?
Yes. We can send you back to your Earth.
Feels like the wrong words. How can I fit in everything that I am now? Into that place. That Hippolyta. She was so small. But deep. She needs me.
All right. So that was a clip from Lovecraft Country.
Now that you named yourself, you can
Named yourself, not what other people named you to. You have defined yourself for you. If that's not some powerful stuff for like a Black woman to be able to say, I don't know what is.
I love it. And that is why Lovecraft Country, they need to bring it back. They need to have these season 2. I don't know what's holding it up. What's going on?
COVID.
But great clip. Asia, why did you choose this particular clip, or why do we all kind of choose this clip?
I think it was a great representation of Black womanhood. It seems like just in the show, Hippolyta is in the midst of, she's like grappling with her role as a mother and as a wife and also as a Blerd. Like she's really into science and astrology and planets and figures. She knows her math and stuff. She's like Imani. So, but there's, so much to her. And, there's always this notion that like sometimes women and Black women have to make themselves small and that we can't explore these different parts of our identity. We're very complex people living complex lives. And so I think that's what that speaks to. Keith, you have a thought on the clip?
Yeah, I'm obviously a fan of the series, and I thought the real theme behind this was her husband didn't think she was qualified or she could explore the country, and then she goes on to explore the galaxy. So I think that was a really good dynamic that they played with in that scene.
Yeah,
love that. Yes.
And I don't know if you all caught it, but there was a voiceover in that clip, and so that voiceover had some gems in it. And so the person doing the voiceover is actually like poet and jazz musician Sun Ra, if you know who that is. And so some of the things that he said in there is, I'm not real. I'm just like you. You don't exist in this society. If you did, your people wouldn't be seeking equal rights. You're not real. If you were, you'd have some status among the nations of the world. That's some powerful stuff. Did anyone have any thoughts on what they think that means?
Imani or Gert?
So again, don't take it away, but I have not seen Lovecraft. I know.
Okay, so this is where your Black card needs to be taken.
Imani's being canceled on this show tonight.
And real quick, what's kind of funny is I remember I was just like on vacation. I was in a hotel room and I saw it pop up on TV and I was like, oh, Journey. Hey, Journey. Mm-hmm. And it was, I don't know if it was like the second episode and she was like, or they were like in a bar and like swinging and dancing or something like that. And then all of a sudden it wasn't that anymore. And I was like, I'm sorry, what is happening? I'm going to go ahead and turn this off before I confuse myself. But as far as that clip goes, I was watching it while I was eating my pound cake for breakfast this morning. And I was like, this is like deep, you know what I mean? And honestly, I didn't get it, the first time, and I still feel like I need to get more of the episode and like watch it. But what I felt was like this, like very clear confusion of a woman. Like I feel like we can articulate very well that this is a complicated life that we're living and we're trying to find our place in it. And even though I didn't know like the context around it, it still felt like, man, like I can relate. Like I feel like there's so many parts of us as women, as Black women especially, and then to just try to like hone in and like specify and like be present with ourselves is not an easy task. So I love the visual around it. It was just it was a really powerful moment, and I did definitely pay attention to it felt like a poem. I'm glad you said that, because I'm like, what is this in the background? Who is this out here talking about it is real and it is not real? Who are you? Who is you?
Who are you? Yeah. Fitting these words of glory, yes.
Right.
What about you, Dirk? What were your thoughts on this particular clip?
So I avoided this clip earlier because I just got into Lovecraft Country and I didn't want to be spoiled, but I watched it along with everyone else in the show today, and I was like, damn, Gina. I'm like, that was good. Like, I can't wait to get to that episode. But yeah, especially hearing the two women speak about like being forced to become smaller and then seeing such powerful imagery and whatnot. Like, I'm like, that's got to feel like taking a bra off, like being able to tell somebody who you are. Like, yes.
Absolutely.
Slow claps. Slow claps.
Right.
Keith, did you have any more words or? Good.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I think, this clip, it shows a lot of different things. That not only is this woman like her own individual person, but she's out here with her husband who she loves a lot. And so I think there's also this myth that like empowered women can't love men as well or have relationships. And that's unfortunate, and some of that it can be true in real life, but to see that represented on TV, I think is powerful. To see this sort of Black love, empowering Black love on TV is important. And then having this voiceover kind of speak to like who are we really, like what is the reality of our existence on this planet, in this universe. And even if you don't understand the quote or understand the clip, it's still something to think about on your own. Just like, who are we as people? Who are we as Black people? What defines us? And is there a way that we can define our own reality in a sense? I think we have the opportunity to create more than we think we do. So
I like that. And also the special effects were amazing.
Yeah,
I highly recommend, just watch the show. Just watch the show, folks. And
someone else's password.
We don't sponsor HBO, but we really just recommend watching that show. It's a good show.
Get someone's password and watch it. So we're gonna move on to the next clip. This clip is from the one and only Black Panther movie. It came out, was it 3 years ago, Malaysia? A couple days ago?
February 17th, 2018, 3 years ago, yes. Time goes by fast in Black women.
Today, our lives changed. I saw Black Panther like literally 5 times in the theater. So I was about that life. Keith, you had something? Oh, okay, he was just praising the Lord with our comments.
No, my baby is watching and she's waving at me. She sent me the chat, so I'm waving. Hi, Audrey.
Yeah. And so I watch this movie a lot. I love Black Panther, and there's a lot of cultural commentary to be pulled from this film. And so we're gonna watch a clip between Black Panther and Killmonger. So we can run that clip.
my pop said Wakanda was the most beautiful thing you ever seen. He promised he was gonna show it to me one day. You believe that? Kid from Oakland running around believing in fairy tales. It's beautiful.
Maybe we can still heal you.
Why? So you could just lock me up? Nah. Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.
One. Ooh, this clip right here.
That one's heavy.
I think throughout time, we often have this dynamic of, you know, just this physical versus the mental. We have these nonviolent versus violent, this dichotomy of Malcolm versus Martin, or W. Du Bois and various others. You know, this dichotomy of just like two ideologies going against each other. And in this particular scene, we have this ideology of, I think, the viewpoint of an African American speaking to, you know, the motherland or the Africans from the continent, and really just speaking like, hey, well, you don't recognize the history that I've had to go through for the last 400, 500 years. And it's a lot of stuff to dissect, but I want to give this over to Asia. What are your thoughts on this? And then we'll get to the others.
Yeah, like I said, this clip is very heavy. I feel like there were a lot of moments in this film that made me think about issues in the diaspora among Black people of different nations. And so we're coming from a lot of different experiences, and it's just to see it on screen and represented so well, I think was beautiful. But this scene just makes me feel really sad because as an African American, you know, you get that feeling that like, it's like Killmonger to me isn't like just a normal villain. He's someone that I can see how he got to the place he's at and his mindset. And, you know, I could see why he would say, you know, no, just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors, basically, because, you know, dying was better than bondage. And even if that bondage was in an African nation, he didn't want it. And because he came from Oakland in the story. And so incarceration for Black people and Black men was very real back in the States, and he's never going to settle and allow himself to be taken prisoner again. So that's kind of some of the stuff I thought. What do any of you think about the clip, Keith?
I definitely think that well, you know, they've come out and said it. I definitely think Stan Lee drew comparisons like we said from Malcolm and Martin with Professor X and Magneto. And with this, I think it was a Du Bois, Booker T. Washington. I don't think the war was figurative. I think it was in the world economy, you know, Wakanda being a fictional place who that was going to have a big impact on the world economy. And I think that they were speaking of Washington, who was behind industrialism and Tuskegee and building bricks without straws and making it happen. And Du Bois, who believed in the talented 10th and what Black Panther was believing in, and Shuri and the technology would be released, you know, incrementally, and our most talented individuals in the Black community would then come back and lift everybody up. And it's been a debate for decades and throughout many Black studies programs throughout the country. Now, where you fall on that side of the debate, I don't know. But in my nerddom, I found that in our culture, we've taken an affinity to the villain, and we forget the fact that Killmonger shot his girlfriend in the face in the scene before that, when he really could have saved his girl. Like, dang, that was your ride or die, dude. And he just shot her in the face. And like, I think we kind of fall in love with the villain. Like, everybody's cheering on the Joker. Like, the Joker is actually a bad person. Like, beyond it, you might have a good point sometimes in your life, but we got to remember that you blew up a hospital, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that one good point you had doesn't erase all of that other stuff. So, I mean, I feel it. It definitely is a touching moment, and I feel how the brothers who, in an era, in a time where we've been so in battle with the police departments across the country, that we was like, nah, man, forget all of this. Let's go to the economy and take it over. We trying to take over, and we're not waiting anymore. So I feel that, but I also felt what the Black Panther had to say with, you know, it's a way. It's not always what you do, but how you do it. You know, so that's how it was for me. And if it came down to it, I think I would be on, seeing today's economy, I think I would be more on Booker T. Washington's side of the story, which is industrialism. And you could still have the talented 10th push through. But, you know, I think over the years we've created and founded so much that we haven't gotten credit for monetarily, that I think that the industrial side of things would have behooved us to push behind that instead of the talented 10th. So that's my spirit.
Ooh, speak it. Yes, love it. Yes. Imani or Dirk, what are your thoughts on this? On everything with Keith or the clip itself? What are your thoughts?
So just like what Keith said, every villain is the hero in their own story, and there's just that fine line between genius and madness and whatnot. And like growing up Black, you kind of want to believe in Xavier's dream, but then like as you get older, like Magneto seems kind of legit, and but then you realize like Magneto did some horrible stuff, and so but I think what these creators are trying to tell you is like sometimes, as like in House of M, you realize that like they were strongest when they were working together and whatnot, and so like at times it might be necessary to be both Magneto and Professor X, both Martins and Malcolms and whatnot. And this was my takeaway from that too. Like it could have been a moment where understanding and togetherness could have been had, but Killmonger wasn't having it. And he had his reasons, and that's cool too.
Watchman's legacy is large.
But yeah, like at the end of the day, sometimes it is necessary to be both.
Definitely. I like that. Definitely.
I agree with that sentiment, because I think sometimes we get stuck in this dichotomy of this good and evil, and I think Malcolm and Martin were very complex people. Martin is seen as a saint to some people, but we all know that wasn't exactly true. And so on the outside, he had this persona of nonviolent, this and that, but like everybody has their dirt, everyone is imperfect, everyone has their own stuff. And so I think Killmonger had a lot of scenes in the movie where he was like speaking truth, even though he was a by any means necessary type of guy. He was going to do whatever he could to ensure what he saw as the Black future. And even if Black people as a whole didn't agree with that, he had a very clear moral trajectory to go after. And that's what he was doing. Whereas in some films in, you know, Marvel or other universes, the villains I just want power, but there's no real backstory. There's nothing to really, there's just nothing to like pull from. These aren't, it just puts people in this dichotomy of good and bad, and that just doesn't really exist in the world. So I feel like the representations of Black Panther, and even him talking to his father was seen as this noble man, but Black Panther went back to the ancestors' lands and told them, you're wrong for the way you treated our brothers and sisters in America, your own kind as well. And so I think there's just a lot more complex conversations to be had in this movie. Amani, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Yeah.
So I was stuck because I didn't really, when I first saw Black Panther, which was here in Utah, which was also very interesting. But I will say my girl Deja rented out a whole theater, so everybody in there was Black, so we was all good. But it was like I didn't realize that Killmonger was the villain. Like that didn't like register, because I didn't assume that going in, because it was an action or a superhero movie. I think because it felt like me. You know what I mean? Like it felt like I could relate to like where he was coming from, and the story that they kind of showed, it just made sense. And so it didn't feel like a villain. It felt like a conversation that just needed to happen. You know what I mean? And I feel like it can be argued that this was even a generational kind of discussion, right? Like Chadwick is all about slow and steady. Like, let's make sure everybody's good here. Let's make sure these people are great here. He's calm, he's humble. He wants to get things done the right way. He doesn't want to cause much trouble. He only wants to fight when he needs to. And I think that's it. Like, that's like our parents' generation. Like, that's kind of what it is. And Killmonger is like, I don't even need to prepare to fight. Let's go now. Like, I'm ready today. Like, go ahead and get up in that water and we about to fight, you know? And I feel like it shows kind of like the relationship between, you know, the two continents, and relationship between African Americans and people that are not African Americans, that are Black. And then just like a parent to child kind of situation, you know, he went through something it was a different kind of trauma, you know, back in Oakland. And, you know, the Black Panther kind of went through this very like humbling upbringing, you know. And I feel like I can definitely see both sides and how they're both important. But I feel like as it stands in like America today, because I'm on the side of like, let's get it done now. I feel like messages and movement won't happen until there's that shock in the system. Like, would they have moved? Would M'Baku and Black Panther ever got together and teamed up to do what they had to do if there was no interruption in their flow? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of what I took away from it. And even though it was, you know, really hard to watch, because it's just a tough scene in general. When he said that, it's actually interesting. I went to Ghana in 2019, and they gave everyone shirts that said that it was something on the back of it was like celebrating the people that made it, that survived getting across the Atlantic. And I had an issue with that. I had an issue with the fact that they phrased it as if, you know, these people had a choice to die. And then now watching the Black Panther and him saying, you know, I'd rather take the jump instead of being in bondage, it just gives you like both sides. You know what I mean? Like some people chose to do that for whatever reason. And then there's some people that, you know, couldn't do that for whatever reason. And I just feel like there's just so much depth to all of that happening. And it's like a lot of us, we wouldn't be here today. And it's like, you know, are we better? Or are we, you know, are we in the position that we're in because we decided to push through? Or are we in this position because like we didn't give up? You know what I mean? Like the mentality about how you look at it, I feel like is really interesting. But you know, and Michael B. Jordan is also just, you know, real fine. So I'm gonna be on his side anyway. But
y'all is Michael B. Jordan, man. Oh my.
Okay, I hope you all saw that Alexa commercial with Michael B. Jordan too. I watched it a few times. I'm not gonna lie.
It's disrespectful.
It was a great commercial. It was.
I definitely agree with you, Amani. Just that narrative, especially just of slavery and understanding that not everyone wanted to be in bondage or they accepted bondage, even in our actual history. And really just kind of talking about that, which often doesn't get talked about in the narrative of slavery. And Dirk, you quoted the House of M, which I'm like, okay, this person's a nerd. They're quoting from House of M with the X-Men, and I'm like, what? Quoting Scarlet Witch? Okay, this is some real stuff. But I wanted to just ask you a question on that, as far as we know in House of M, Scarlet Witch kind of suffers from a mental breakdown with everything that's going around her. And I think to kind of connect it back to Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, in a way, he kind of had like a breakdown throughout the movie. And I want to just kind of talk about like when talking about these things, when, especially with comics and stuff, how do we deal with mental illness? And what is the conversation around? Does anybody want to respond?
You just gonna drop like you ain't saying something.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Like anyone like to give the speech now? I'm not even gonna take it. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself. I can't do that one yet.
Maybe I'll say a little bit because I've talked enough tonight, but I am a social worker. And so I do work with people with mental illness. And so I think I think it's very important to just, again, think of like what we've been saying, think about like how people got to where they are, got to the place where they've formed, or why they formed these beliefs and these viewpoints. And a lot of times, you know, it can stem from trauma, not always, but like it definitely can. And we're all a result of some of the things that have happened to us. And so, you know, unfortunately, there may not be another way for certain people to turn out. I don't know how Killmonger would have turned out if his dad had lived, like if he didn't walk into like his dad's body being on the floor and all that stuff and being left alone. And all of that stuff's just very traumatic. And then you're in Oakland and you're a young Black boy and all that stuff that comes with it. I don't see how else Killmonger could have turned out, because he didn't have parents that were there for him. And then that wasn't his fault either. He was just left as an orphan. And so, you know, I think having some empathy for people and what they've gone through, and just, you know, I'm not saying anything's right or wrong, but this is who people are as a result of what's happened to them. And so those are just my thoughts.
Great.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So just speaking off of that moment where you're talking about him going into and seeing his father like on the floor, when he was made king, and you know, he went back into the room,
right,
and his father said, and I don't know, this resonated so much with me, his father said, "No tears for me." And he's like, everybody dies. Like that right there was really strong. And because I majored in forensics, you know, that was an expectation, you know what I mean? Like, that's because that's my job. But even though that's my job, that became my reality for a lot of things. It's like, why are we so like bothered? You know, I have this mentality for other people now. Like, why are we so shook up by someone dying? Because it's a part of life. And, you know, that mentality, like, it wasn't until like I got out of that world and like I was really interacting with people like that weren't, you know, making that a normal, like, non-emotional experience, that it was like shocking. Like, oh my God, like I gotta do some real like healing to figure out why I'm so okay with death. You know what I mean? And I feel like just tapping into that mental wellness and, you know, different mental illnesses and things like that. There's so many things that I feel like when you're struggling through something that it becomes your norm. So you can't even understand that you need to get out of something, you know, because that's just what it is for you. It's just like, you know, eating pizza the way that you eat pizza. It's just what it is for you. But I feel like the amount of empathy that you have to have, I feel like it's just kind of accepting that this is a result of someone's experience. And that's what it is versus it being like disrespectful to you. You know, it's just like this person is dealing with it because of what they went through, whether it was good, bad, positive, or whatever. That's just kind of how it is. And then taking it a step at a time to really like dissect what's going on and how to get out of that in a healthy way.
Anyone else before we go on to the Q&A? Right. Well, Asia, can you take it away?
Yeah. So we've had a really good conversation about these clips so far. I hope you all have enjoyed it so far. Feel free to put some questions into the chat and we'll discuss it with the panelists. At this time, we will be taking some questions. I have a few here. And then we will have a special clip and tribute at the end of this program. So first of all, we have a question from Alina, I hope I'm saying that right. They say, what is something that helped you stand in your blerdom as a child or young adult? Who wants to answer that first? Keith?
For me, you know, I was always in honors classes and I had the big glasses and I was skinny and I have a birthmark. So I was like always a target, like people, but fortunately enough for me, my cousin is huge. He was feared amongst our whole school. And once I got to high school, let me tell you, this brother walked me to every single one of my classes. He walked me the first period, and then he came, got me after the first period, and walked me the second period, third, fourth, all the way through my classes. He checked teachers, he checked other students, and he made sure I didn't have a problem. I mean, I know a lot of other people had different experiences being a nerd, but once people in my neighborhood knew that I was going to Ohio State and, you know, going off to college, I think everybody kind of banded behind me, and I just have to show them love for that. But like personally, on a personal level, it's just, again, what I said about passion. You can turn passion into, you know, it could be a hobby, or it could be something that you use to, you know, support yourself. And anything that you're passionate about will keep you going the next day, will keep you positive, will keep you motivated. So any way that you can turn your passion into something that you know, can permeate throughout your life, I encourage you to do that. And just knowing that, you know, people don't get to define you, just like Hippolyta, you get to define yourself. So that's what I would have to say about it, because not everybody has a 6'3", you know, 260-pound dude to follow them around. So you know, stay confident in yourself.
All right, Dirk, what about you? What is something that helped you stand in your blerdom?
trauma. I'm just kidding. So, I also had the luck of having older siblings and cousins and whatnot to have my back while I was in school and whatnot. But just like, I don't know if it's like my sense of wonder or whatnot, but realizing that like what I'm into, what my passions are, these artists are imagining like, what if like this world could be better? And so with like my passion for Blerd stuff has been like, okay, this is my escape to something better or inspiration to do better. And there's no in between. It's either one or the other for me. And that's just how I've been living my life.
Yeah, that stuff's real. Unfortunately, not everyone has that support when they're going through that stuff as a young person. Imani, what about you? What is something that helped you stand in your blerdom?
I'm trying to think, because I feel like it was, for me, like growing up, it felt like a very normal thing. It was just something that happened. Like I just chose to be like this way or whatever. But I feel like I didn't really get bullied. I was very encouraged by like my family's peers, which was great. I do have a brother that could cause some damage, but I don't think I had to use him as a threat. And it's mainly because I was probably a little bit of a bully. A hair, but mostly I'm not a non-violent one, you know, unless I had to be, you know, in those asterisk scenarios. But I feel like just kind of using like, I don't know, the idea that my interests didn't define me and really kind of like fighting what the problem was. So I feel like through college and even a little bit through high school, it was like, you know, you get some feedback racially because of the environment that, you know, is dominated in that world. And it's just like, so if you tried to stop me from like getting to the next place that I wanted to be, which I felt like should have been okay because everybody else could do it, then that's kind of how I stood my ground, by fighting those fights. Like, okay, so why do you think that, you know, I can't do that, you know, and just really like standing up to it. But I felt like for me, it was a lot more of versus like peer-to-peer, but more of like a faculty to me and, you know, staff or adults or something like that. So really just like fighting a good fight, and really just helping bring others along that I know. I feel like I came from a very privileged environment where I got access to a lot of things and accepted to a lot of things that I know people wouldn't have the opportunity or think about the opportunity to have, just because of the stereotype that Black people don't go into STEM, and just kind of bringing them along and trying to like give back in the way that I knew how for the time that I could. So yeah.
So that support system's really, really important. Keith, you have something else you want to say?
Yeah, I have something that just spoke to me about the question about being comfortable in your blerdom. And I think two things that really helped me were reading and traveling. So when I traveled more, I learned that if I tried it, then Black people did it. And I had in the military, I had a mentor who was into skiing. And you know, me, I went from Chicago to a boarding school, but I hadn't really traveled that much, you know? So once I got into the military and started traveling, I started meeting more other brothers who have been traveling as well, traveling the globe. And one of my mentors told me, he said, if you do it, Black people have been done it, you know? And that meant skiing, that meant skeet shooting, that meant hunting, that meant anything. And the more I read and the more I got invested in my environment in Chicago, the more I learned that we had a high school named after Gwendolyn Brooks. We had a grammar school named after Marcus Garvey. That DuSable Museum was named after a French African-American who helped design the city. So, and once I started learning those things, I started taking more ownership of my environment and ownership into who I was. So I encourage you to read more. And if you get the opportunity, I know everybody is kind of hard these days, but when you get the opportunity to travel more and start seeing things, you know.
Yeah.
Is that someone's hands raised? I was about to say if I could say something on that.
Dirk, did you want to say something?
Imani can go first. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, you're good. I just didn't know what the hand was right there.
Yeah, that's what I was. that was me too, but I was
The
like,
virtual hand.
Traveling has also done wonders for me, because when I came out and lost my family support, that was like seeing other Black nerds in different locations and other queer people of color in different locations and whatnot, and like, okay, yes, like we are here, we've just been like right here waiting for you or whatnot. And like, so yeah, that support system and traveling is so great, because you can see different perspectives and whatnot.
And then you get to build your own family full of people who do love and accept you.
Exactly.
Which is super important. Sometimes family is not blood all the time. So, and that's fine. I do have another question from the audience. Michelda said, hey, Michelda, have any of you watched Sailor Moon?
Oh my God.
Can we say hell yeah?
Yes, I think we can. Who used to watch Sailor Moon though after school on like Toonami on Cartoon Network though? Because that was my experience.
Yes.
I think it was like right after or right before Dragon Ball Z. Every day. So yeah, I've seen Sailor Moon. Who were your like favorite? Which ones did you like the most? Anybody?
Mars and Mercury. You got smart and fierce women,
Mercury.
right? Like me too. Oh my God.
Also, can we talk about the Power Rangers real quick? Because Aisha the Yellow Ranger was like my idol. Because I'm like, Black girls doing kung fu and karate and all that stuff. I was like, and she made it to the movie, and I was like, oh snap.
That's sad when you gotta say she made it to the movie. You know, you didn't know she's gonna make it. You know,
you never know. So that was big for me. Imani, did you watch Sailor Moon? See, we're gonna have to take. Yeah. We might have to take your nerd card now.
Let's just pause on the play. Okay.
Card as well. Oh my.
I was about to look it up. Like, let me just see a little episode real quick while they go here talking.
You gotta at least know the intro.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Let me just.
Our next question is from Vaughn. They asked, as much as you use your nerd experience to explain your identity, how much do you use your nerdum to escape reality?
Oh, I start off with that, but I would just say for myself all the time, whether that be stress for my job, whether it be stress, relationship wise or with family, what I used to do is either read comics or play video games. Huge video game fan, and that used to be my escape. But what about you all?
Tell you, I was a ninja. Okay, so I used to get the comic books, and in the back of the comic books, they used to have like the ninja stuff that you could get, that you could order, that your mama would be like, look at you like you was crazy, like you was the man on the moon for asking her for. But we had a friend whose mom used to get him all this stuff. So we used to take the dry cleaner, the little thing from the dry cleaner, and we break it in half and we put strings in between it, and we would meet up in the field behind my house, and we would all be ninjas and use our moves from the comics and all of that. So it's definitely been an escape for me. I still read graphic novels. You know, I used to spend a lot of time in the graphic novel section at the downtown library down the street from me. It's definitely a good way to get away from reality, but they always, a lot of the books I read always have a thread that kind of keeps you grounded, you know, with what's going on in society as well. So I really admire how Marvel has reimagined a lot of their characters for this new generation, so that we have a lot more identities and realities that are kind of coming to surface and that are represented, because, you know, of course they're gonna miss some things in the 1960s and the 1970s, although I will give them some credit for being a little bit more progressive than the rest of the media at the time, so we will give them that. But I think that now, you know, we got a young black woman who's the smartest person in the Marvel universe. We got Shuri, who's about to get one of the biggest movies, hopefully, let's cross our fingers, in MCU history, you know, pretty soon. So we have a lot of things that are coming up that are optimistic, that can help us, you know, take a break from all of the things that we're going through in our day-to-day lives.
So just so we're clear, you were using the cardboard thing on the hanger and taking it off? Okay.
Yes, the cardboard thing on the hanger, and then you take that, the other hangers, you would stretch them out and we would play basketball on them. You know what I'm saying? That's some old school Blerd type stuff right there.
That's innovation right there. I haven't done that.
No, we turn innovation, you know, we just innovate, you know.
Yeah, you put it on the top of you put it in the door jamb, and you just open it up and you use a sock, and that's how we play basketball. That's how you learn how to dunk. You know, you do dunks on it and stuff.
Dirk or Imani, did you want to respond to that question? We also have another question from an audience member that you can answer as well.
So I've used it as an escape mechanism probably too many times, but like, is that really a thing though? But yeah, like, because in addition to escapism, it's also inspiring, because it's like, yeah, like you can see something better and then possibly do something better afterwards and whatnot. And so like it could be like a response to other traumas and whatnot that I have dealt with and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's a good coping mechanism, and I hold on to it a lot. Like I'm like, yeah, like I have my nerd sleeve and I have my black sleeve, and that's all I got. Like
that's all you need.
Exactly.
Imani, do you have any thoughts on this?
As an escape, I'll say that I would watch, like, I think I've seen all the CSI Miami episodes that exist. And even though it's a different version of my nerdiness, it's like practical. And so that's kind of like what I don't really like, the whole emotional experience of any sort. And so I'll go to that to be like, okay, let's do a crime we can solve. Let's look at the evidence. Let's look at this, and then we can be done. And that kind of makes me feel better about like whatever moment I'm in, because I'm like, this makes sense. This makes sense. So
I feel that. I like to escape in general. Sometimes work can be taxing, and I want to watch something that has nothing to do with what I do for a living. And so I will escape to something else.
I said, no Tyler Perry films.
Why you have to do that, Malaysia? Malaysia is not behaving on this program. No, I'm joking. We have one more question from audience member Ashley. They said, what do you think of exploration to Mars? What new trends in Afrofuturism and odes to Octavia Butler would you like to see? Pulled out Octavia on us. Anyone fans of Octavia Butler on here? Because I read, I haven't read all of her books, but I've read Kindred, and that was deep. So, Imani, did you have something you were gonna say? You look like you were gonna say something.
I was, but then I was like, I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna wait for other people. I don't want to hit. I want to hit the people.
When I think of Mars, I kind of think of Ted Cruz leaving America for Mexico. I kind of think like our government is just gonna leave us brothers and sisters here in this dystopian, polluted, about to erupt world while they go to Mars and create resorts and stuff like Elysium or something like that. So I just, I feel like we just gonna have to we have to do our own thing, like Hippolyta again, we're gonna have to work the voodoo or the uru or the obia or whatever by ourselves in our own blurredom, because I think they're gonna Ted Cruz us, man.
Mm-hmm. That is a theme in a lot of sci-fi movies that, maybe like the 1% are the only ones that can go to Mars after they've like messed up the Earth and it's uninhabitable or something. So
I mean, hopefully they come up with some sort of material that makes shoes really comfortable and like jeans more stretchy or something like that. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I just don't trust our government with technology and all of that stuff,
That's fair. Imani or Dirk?
At the same time, if we all do get left behind and whatnot, and like it'll be us finally making our own world, so to speak, and then like it's like oh because like yeah now the others are now the left behinds, and that will probably be the unifying experience that puts people together, like like the capital W white people abandon us, so like
the Earth's gonna be messed up, man. We got to get together like Ready Player
yesterday.
One. Get together virtually, all from our homes, because we can't go out because there's viruses and pollution everywhere.
I think we should just, take the trip and just see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? I looked at I saw some of the coverage. I don't know why. Science is not my thing. I'm not Neil deGrasse Tyson or anything like that. Shout out to the brother in Cosmos. I thought Cosmos was wonderful. If you guys like that sort of thing, watch Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson. The Event Horizon and all of that stuff. Much more intelligent in the science field than I am. But I enjoy it. But my thought was, I thought it took way longer to get to Mars than it does. I'm like, won't you be old by the time you get there? No, it only takes a few months to get to Mars. I'm thinking it was like by the time we got there, we was gonna have to be in stasis or something like that. Like my science is so old that I had to update myself because I did not know that you could get there in a matter of months. So it's like a vacation. Like you could, I don't know how I would survive being in a ship with somebody for 3 months. Think about that though. Like the Carnival cruises for a few weeks. Now you got to be in space for 3 months with a group of people. That's dangerous too.
Yeah. I definitely think Octavia Butler was ahead of her time in her writing. I think she spoke about some stuff that hadn't really happened yet, and it's happening now. I think Afrofuturism in general represents a lot of creativity and innovation in Black culture, and that we can create a future that is liberating. And so that's what I hope to see. So that is the end of the Q&A portion of the program. We are going to have a special clip here and we're going to have a special discussion and tribute by Imani herself. And so we'll get to that. This clip is recognizing the late, great Chadwick Boseman and some things that he had to say to Denzel Washington, who was being honored at an event. So if we could please play that clip.
I know personally that your generosity extends past what you have given on the stage and screen. Many of you already know the story that Mr. Washington, when asked by Phylicia Rashad to join her in assisting 9 theater students from Howard University who had been accepted to a summer acting program at the British Academy of Dramatic Acting in Oxford, he gracefully and privately agreed to contribute. As fate would have it, I was one of the students that he paid for. Imagine receiving a letter that your tuition for that summer was paid for and that your benefactor was none other than the dopest actor on the planet. I have no doubt that there are similar stories at boys and girls clubs and theaters and churches across the country where I know you have also inspired and motivated others. An offering from a sage and a king is more than silver and gold. It is a seed of hope, a bud of faith. There is no Black Panther without Denzel Washington. And not just because of me, but my whole cast, that generation stands on your shoulders. The daily battles won, the 1,000 territories gained, the many sacrifices you made for the culture on film sets through your career, the things you refused to compromise along the way, laid the blueprints for us to follow. And so now, let he who has watered be watered. Let he who has given be given too. It is an honor to now know you, to learn from you, and join in this work with you. May God bless you exceedingly and abundantly more in what's in store than he ever has before. God bless you.
Man, this clip hits. Just a quick note, I think when Chadwick Boseman died, finding out how I found out was, it was not even a text message. It was a random like notification on my phone from Apple News. And I was just like, what? Chadwick Boseman died? And I remember with Alicia, if you all are familiar with her, we were just at home and I was bawling in tears. And it had that same feeling I think others felt. With Kobe Bryant. So Kobe Bryant, I didn't feel as hard for Kobe Bryant. That's me. I'm just not overly into sports. But Chadwick Boseman, when he died, it was just like, wow. And I'm just like, a lot of questions. I'm like, who's going to be my Black Panther? Who's going to be this person? He acted in several different movies and things of that nature. And so it really hit. It really hit. And it was those few times where I cried. And I mean, I try to cry often, but this was like really, like I was mourning, which is a difference. So with that, we want to pay some homage to Chadwick Boseman tonight. And we really want to close out things with Imani, beautiful Imani. She's going to read us a poem in honoring Chadwick Boseman and with libations. Imani, you can take it from here.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Malaysia, I just to piggyback off what you said real quick, it's just the moment of like finding out that he passed, I ignored it straight up. It came up all over social media and I was like, not today. We're just not, nope, not today. I'm not gonna do it. And I flipped it over and then the next day it was still there. And I was just like, man, like it felt, and I didn't watch any of his other work, but it just felt like we just lost like a major part of the movement. That's what it felt like to me, at least. But So I'm gonna read a poem that I wrote for Chadwick. I titled it, which I don't do often, I titled it To Be Grace. Like water, you once said, let he who has watered be watered. So I think it's safe to say that it's your turn. You are the man who gave the little black boy power, the power to be the greatest version of himself, and not just in strength, but in their mind too. You moved and merged nations beyond our current view and fed the souls of those who were blind to the strength of the Black man. You showed vulnerability and kindness, even in your stubbornness, or as you may have viewed it, steadfast mentality. You were able to move the hearts of the uncertain by honoring the throne and your people. You showed the power of the land, the earth, the sun, the herbs, the animals, the light, and the colors. You embraced the spirit of the people and your ancestors. You showered us with power of words and symbols and creativity. You may have acted all of these emotions, but our minds know no different. The power of the Black Panther, with a warrior team full of women, leading the tribe, fighting in ritual combat, and leading the world in the greatest technology it has yet to see. And yet, also humbly, with a beaming smile, you showed us the true identity of what a king is and could be. We have witnessed you be a fighter off the screen, and yet the fight on screen showed me that your strength is greater than just yourself. You chose to do the incredible work to represent some of the most reputable, yet still imperfect, Black men we have seen in our history. Jackie Robinson, James Brown, and Thurgood Marshall. Your profound work was adored by not just your acting, but in your grace. You have made the time I've known you worth more than just a memory, but a guide to how this life can truly be lived. Like water, you came and you rushed and you anointed us. Thank you, Chadwick Aaron Bozeman, for watering our spirits and gracing this life of ours with yours. May your soul continue to live on as we water these roots in remembrance of you. Ashe. And that's it. It's really hard to read. It's a tough one. But I wanted to kind of share an experience with everyone, and I know some of the team has also participated in this. In some cultures, we pour libations to honor or to give reverence to our ancestors. And so I want to take a moment with everyone to think of someone you may have lost, someone that is still with you in your heart, someone that may have passed on, and reflect on that today as we have a moment of silence and we pour libations, which is a drink poured to honor into some form of life. So I'll be pouring water into a plant. Once the minute is over, I'll pour into the plant the water 3 times, and I'll say Ashe 3 times as a form of completion, and then pass it on back to the moderator. So at this time, just think of someone you want to lift up, and I'll just give you a moment. Okay, I'm gonna pour it into the plant. Ashe, Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you, Imani, for your poem and for sharing this moment with us and for honoring Chadwick and all of those that we may have lost together, especially in 2020. There were a lot of things that happened in that year. So thank you all to everyone for, being a part of this program tonight. And so thank you to Malaysia for doing this with me.
Partner in crime, yes.
My Blerd partner in crime. Thank you to the panelists, Keith, Dirk, and of course, Imani again. And at this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Billy Palmer and Frankie Baines. Thank you all. Frankie, I think you're on mute.
Now, you got to say the 2020 words of the year. You're on mute at least once.
It's got to happen in every Zoom. I was afraid it wasn't going to happen.
It's got to happen at least
It's
once.
got to happen at least once.
But we just want to thank you all for joining us. We love doing these. These are fun. These are real. These are heartfelt. It was beautiful to go from just blurting out, talking about how rappers are Blerds, how it permeates our culture, to like beautiful messages like defining yourself and using it to manage and cope, through using our blurredness to manage and cope, and how we all have blurredness. Billy, what were some of your takeaways?
I was just breathing in a lot of everything they were saying. It resonated so many times with me. It got me in contact with my nerdy self. I thought maybe I'm a little bit of a nerd, and after the process of putting this together, I realized I'm a soup. Don't shake your head so quickly. I realized how much of a nerd I really am, but it just the reflections that they had and how important it is, and the life lessons that you get through some of this nerdy stuff, and it really is something powerful. And so I really appreciated each one of the panelists and what they brought, and I just thought it was one of the best events I've ever gotten to witness. So I thought Asia and Malaysia did a great job, and our panelists were fantastic. Wonderful. And I tried to say the least nerdy way. Fantastic.
Amazing. We have so many thank yous, of course, to everyone for viewing. We thanked you all already, but we just can't thank you all enough. This is for you all. This is for the community. We're so glad that you all tuned in. We got to thank our tech folks at the Film Center. Josh Levy came and killed it, kept the gallery view to the speaker views, in the chats, getting the clips up, making it look good. We thank you. All of us for the Blerd team, all the work that we've done, the panel, thank you all. We got also some events coming up. Billy,
that's right. We've got Unapologetic. It's tomorrow night. It's a great film. And this is going to be a great film with a question and answer from the subject Bella Boz and producer Morgan Ellis Johnson, moderated by KVR's Radio West host Doug Fabrizio. If you don't know what apologetic is, this is about movement building in our day now, and how the arts mix in with our movement building, just like we're doing right now. This is community building, and community building is powerful. Listen to the radio version of this conversation Thursday, March 4th on Radioactive's Changing the Narrative. Changing the Narrative is also includes Asia Washington, Frankie Baines, and Malaysia, all present tonight. So we Radioactive's on weeknights at 6. Thursday nights we host as Changing the Narrative. So listen any night of the week, Monday through Friday, that is. Black, Bold, and Brilliant Film Night, Black Feminist is coming up as well. And that's going to be next month on the 31st at 7 p.m. We'll have post-film discussion with director Zana Thyrus. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It'll be moderated by Frankie and Asia as well. And then our next Black, Bold, and Brilliant conversation, formatted like the one you saw tonight, will be on May 26th. So put that in your calendars, come back. We don't quite know what subject we're going to really go off of next time. And if you have some suggestions, you can leave them in the chat of what you'd like to hear folks in your community talking about. Maybe there's something that you identify with that we really haven't dug into and gotten into the narrative about that is part of who you are. So there's also that. Thank you to KRCL Radioactive. Our team over here at KRCL is very supportive of this programming. And I have to say that I appreciate my radio station for sure, as they have just said, okay, what you're doing over there, go do it. We're not going to get in the way of it. We want to make sure that you're able to present these communities that don't get enough voices. And one of them definitely is ours. Utah Film Center has given us the format here, and we really appreciate it. And same spirit with them. They just, hey, listen, do what you guys do. We love it, and we don't want to get in the way of it. And that just really means a lot. So if you love things like this and you like to see your community supported in and marginalized communities supported in the way that these two nonprofits are, remember, they are nonprofits. If you go to their websites, you can go to krcl.org, or you can go to utahfilmcenter.org, and you will find, obviously, a little button right at the top of the page because nonprofits are smart that way. Also, check out in the chat, share your favorite takeaway from the conversation so we can save it, so we can use those for our promotions in the future. We just want to thank everybody that came along to listen to this. We know that these kinds of conversations are healthy for us to have and be able to reach into ourselves, our authentic selves. And I am so fed from tonight, and I know I'm looking at your faces across the screen here, and I know that I'm seeing those same vibrations going on in our screen. So thank you so much.